Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ashish, and I will discuss one of the most influential strategic ideas from the art of war, Sanzu, and how it still shapes modern business strategies and competitions today. Sanju once stated, now an army may be likened to water, just uh, like flowing water avoids heights and hastens to lowlands. In the same way, so an army, right, they always avoid strength and strike the weakness. So although this quote was written more than 2000 years ago, its strategic meaning remains highly relevant to the modern strategic world in terms of management and innovation. The metaphor attacking competitors where they are stronger, successful organizations identify weak points and underdeserved markets or opportunities that rivals ignore. So generally in modern business, this approach is other and often described as asymmetric strategy, where companies gain advantage not through direct confrontation but through strategic adaptation, flexibility, adaptability, and innovation by targeting the weakness rather than targeting the strength. So this principle can clearly be seen in competitions between the famous example of Walmart and Kmart. Walmart succeeded because they behave like water. They always adapt to the market conditions and targeting the underdeserved rural communities, building efficient water with efficient supply chain systems and avoiding unnecessary direct battles with larger competitors during early expansions. So in contrast, Kmart relied heavily on direct price confrontation rather than focusing on the weaker points, and they often failed to respond strategically to Walmart's operational strengths, changing customer experience. So I'll further, want to explain the strategic logic behind Sanju's water metaphor. It discusses its connection to the modern strategic management and innovation, and critically, it also analyzes how Walmart successfully applied this principle of avoiding the strength and striking the weakness, while Kmart failed to do so. I mean, you all have questions, right? Why do some companies dominate entire industries? So while other companies collapse trying to compete with the dominant companies. So it was actually explained 2000 years ago by Sanju. He explained using a simple metaphor. He said an army may be likened to water. Flowing water always avoids strength and strikes the weakness. So today we call it a asymmetric strategy. So and this exact principle, was explained by the Walmart conquered retail, while Kmart slowly destroyed itself trying to fight the wrong battle. So overall, Walmart and Kmart story illustrate the practical relevance of Sanju's water metaphor in modern strategic world. They also focus on the weak points in the competitive landscape, whereas Kmart failed because they ignored the principle and confronted Walmart directly, where Walmart was strongest. So, strategic logic behind Sanju's idea connect it to a modern strategic management innovation, where the art of war explains that successful strategy depends not only on direct confrontation but also on flexibility, adaptability, and intelligent positioning of yourself in the market. Water naturally flows around obstacles instead of crashing against the mountains. It always finds the shortest and the simplest way. Likewise, organizations should also avoid competing with directly against the rivals and with the strongest capabilities, and instead target areas where competitors are vulnerable, unprepared, and insufficient. To be honest, so what does water avoid strength and strikes weakness actually means in business? I mean, why are we linking the metaphor to the real world instead of attacking competitors where they're strongest? Successful organizations always identify the weak points and the underdeserved markets areas competitors generally ignore. So water is powerful because it adapts, right? So it does not crash against mountains, it flows around them. And in strategic management it's the same. This become asymmetric competition, competing instead of competing harder. So the idea appears in many modern theories, for example, the blue ocean theory and the famous disruptive innovation, as well as the dynamic capabilities. All of them focusing on creating advantage in spaces competitors fail to defend. So the strategic logic is simple: attacking the strength, will always waste resources, while attacking the weakness will create force multiplication. So companies gain greater results using fewer resources. So the six principles which Sun Tzu mentioned was win all without fighting, capturing your market without destroying it. Let us sympathize this using our the great example Walmart versus Kmart. So Walmart quietly built customer loyalty and operational efficiency in the lower market, targeting the rural areas. So where Kmart failed because it directly confronted through price competition against the Walmart's strongest capability, whereas low cost operations and supply chain efficiencies violated Sanju's advice because Kmart fought on terrains chosen by the Walmart rather than just flowing like a water. And the next principle says avoid always strengths and attack always the weaknesses. So it means striking where they are least expected. This principle is very clear, and the expression of water metaphor. The strategic success comes from identifying the weakness and not only the gaps, but also we may neglect opportunities other than confronting established strengths. So Walmart applied this perfectly by focusing on a small town of America where competitors had limited presence and weak distribution channel. Kmart always ignored this principle entirely. It attacked the Walmart through large-scale price distributions, expansions, aggressive discounting, even though Walmart already possessed superior logistics, lower operating cost, and stronger inventory management. As Sanju's suggested, water flows towards the opening where there is no terrains, no mountains. Kmart instead of following the same principle, they tried to climb the mountains. And the third principle, it says deception and foreknowledge, which means we need to maximize the power of market information. So Sanju believed that knowledge of competitors and market conditions create strategic advantage. Water changes direction according to terrains, and organization must similarly adapt based on intelligent and market insights. Walmart understood consumers' need in rural areas and their requirements, and developed localized strategies which supported them in terms of finding the superior data, and also built a stronger logistical system. So Kmart leadership underestimated this Walmart's program, and they failed to analyze what actually Walmart is trying to do in the market in terms of competition. So the CEO reportedly dismissed the Walmart executive as snake oil salesman. So showing arrogance instead of strategic intelligence, this lacks foreknowledge, and also it contributed to Kmart's decline. And the next principle says speed and preparation, which means moving swiftly to overcome the competition. So water moves continuously and rapidly, but it always chose the shortest path and the clearance way, adapting instantly to environmental conditions. It become more flexible upon the conditions, and similarly organizations must combine preparations with speed. So Walmart's highly efficient distribution inventory system allowed rapid expansion into under reserved market before competing with the Kmart. So Kmart, on the other hand, they spend billions and millions, but they still lack the operational preparation which are necessary to compete with Walmart effectively. So, on the other hand, Walmart built systems and culture enabled, which enabled faster decisions making and more effective and efficient execution of the plans, demonstrating how preparations create strategic speed. And Sanju, in his fifth principle, mentioned that shape your opponents. You always have to employ strategies to master your competitions, rather than focusing on the strength of your competitor. So Sanju argued that superior strategy, it always forces the opponent to disadvantageous positions. Walmart shaped the competitors' behavior by dominating the small markets, firstly, eventually surrounding larger rivals geographically and operationally. Competitors were forced to respond to Walmart's model rather than pursue their own strategic directions. Whereas Kmart become reactive instead of proactive, and they rather than creating a unique competitive space, it copied Walmart's approach and therefore allowed Walmart to dictate in terms of competition. So the sixth principle says character-based leadership, providing effective leadership in turbulent times. The metaphor of water also implies calmness, discipline, and adaptability in leadership. Effective leadership remains flexible and objective instead of emotional or ego driven more often. So in contrast, what you can conclude is Kmart's leadership become driven by frustration and fear of losing the market share. They were also afraid of Walmart's strategies because they were far ahead of Kmart. Their emotional reactions led to irrational strategic decisions and direct attack on Walmart's strength. Kmart made an exact mistake Sanju warned against. Kmart tried to defeat Walmart, though through certain criteria like the direct price competition, which was actually wrong. And they attacked Walmart's greatest strength. Walmart already had superior supply chain, lower operating costs, and stronger logistics and better inventory in terms of Kmart. So this is exactly what happened. Kmart market share collapsed, their sales decreased, leadership became unstable. They had to fire their CEO. Meanwhile, Walmart become even stronger and stronger. It was also not only tactical. It was leadership failure for Kmart. Then how Walmart used Sanju's theory, and I've explained. It succeeded because it followed the logic of water. And modern strategic leadership lessons what we get from the sixth principle is, firstly you should understand the competitors deeply. Study their strategic plans and intelligence, how they position themselves in the market. And you cannot exploit weakness always unless you understand what are their strengths and how they try to exist in the market, avoiding striking on the strengths of other competition companies. And secondly, avoid unnecessary direct confrontation. Not every market battle is worth fighting. Smart leaders concentrate resources where competitors are vulnerable. Thirdly, adaptability is very critical. Like water, always adapt to the conditions, and the same way organizations must continuously evolve and should have a market change and should have a rigid structures where companies struggle during disruption, and also flexibility in terms of surviving in the market. It may be through your supply chain, your logistic, or it with the price distribution. It will help you a lot. And fourthly, innovation should target always the opportunities which is beneficial for the organization. So like many companies, they waste resources creating me too products in saturated markets. So real innovation often comes from identifying the neglected customer needs, which we actually neglect. And finally, leadership discipline actually matters. So thank you.